We're going to talk through some angle measures that we can label. Angle measures that are greater than 360 degrees, or one trip around the circle, same as greater than 2 pi. And we're going to look at some labels of angles where we go in the negative direction so that their label would be less than 0, or negative, of course. Okay, what we saw in the earlier video that a 0-degree angle was coterminal with 360 degrees. So you end up in the same position on the unit circle if you've rotated none at all, or if you rotate a full revolution and you get back to where you started. So 0 and 360 are what we call coterminal angles. Okay. Well, if we move an additional 90 degrees, that would represent one trip around the circle plus another 90 degrees, and we would label that as 450. If we were to go once around plus another 180 degrees, we'd be here at the west pole, and we can label that 540. Another 90 degrees, we would be down here at 630 degrees, which is coterminal with 270. And another 90 degrees, we would get 720. Which is both coterminal with 0 and 360. Okay. So we kind of see how this goes. If we've made more than one complete revolution, the degree angle measure will be larger than 360. So if we go an additional 45, we can label 405. Adding 45 gets us to 450. Adding 45 gets us to 495. And you see we can get back to 540 with another 45 degrees. And we can continue this. Oops, kind of transposed my numbers there. I added 45, I added 45, and then I should have added 45. And then adding another 45, we should be back to 720. Okay. Now those trisectors that we saw in the first video are rotations of 30 degrees. So if we go 30 degrees past a full rotation, we would label that 390, and an additional 30 degrees 420, and so on. Okay. Now this same idea of having angle rotation more than one revolution around the circle can be expressed in radians. And so if you recall from the last video, one trip around the circle would be 2 pi radians. And now, you might remember me saying that we can think of 2 pi as 4 pi over 2. They're equivalent. So if we add an additional pi over 2, we're at 5 pi over 2 here at the North Pole. 6 pi over 2 will reduce to 3 pi at the West Pole. 7 pi over 2 is equivalent to 630 degrees. And 8 pi over 2 gets us back around 2 full rotations and is coterminal with 2 pi. Okay. And we're learning that quadrantal angles have a 2 in the denominator. Now if we had gone once around the circle and then just pi over 6 more, then we would need to add 2 pi plus pi over 6. 2 pi plus pi over 6. We need a common denominator, and we see that we have an angle 13 pi over 6 coterminal with pi over 6. 14 pi over 6 will reduce. 15 pi over 6 is already labeled. 16 pi over 6 will reduce. 17 pi over 6 is almost around to the other side, where 18 pi over 6 will reduce, and we've already got that labeled, so I won't put that in. 19 pi over 6, 20 pi over 6, 21 pi over 6, 22 pi over 6, and 23 pi over 6 almost gets us back to 4 pi. So we've been going in the positive direction around the circle. Okay. We can also express angles that are in the opposite direction, and I'll just do a couple of those here on the scratch paper to finish out our video. So same unit circle. We know we can bisect those quadrantal angles, and we can also trisect each quadrant. Oops, yeah, I'm not a very good artist. We've got our positive x-axis, and if we want to go in the other direction, we would express that angle as a negative angle. So we've got negative 30 degrees, or negative pi over 6. We can go down to the south pole. That would be negative pi over 2, or negative 90 degrees. Excuse me. We can go almost all the way around, but stop with pi over 6 to go, and that would be negative 11 pi over 6, not quite negative 2 pi. And this can also be done in degrees.